Hey everyone, George here, and welcome back to the channel. So we're going to be talking about this Fiji Cube 38 gallon that was going to be a small discus tank, and I've sort of abandoned that whole idea, and I'm going to have to explain to you why that has happened. And as you can see, it's been totally rescaped from the original scape that was in this tank, and we've already put some new fish in here. Now this tank was totally cycled, so these fish being in here isn't something that I'm being silly enough to put fish into a tank that hasn't been cycled. This tank's actually been running for 2 years. All I did basically was take all of the hardscape out. I left all the substrate in, and all of the filtration stayed the same. So we're going to talk about that when we come back. We're going to talk about why I abandoned the whole idea of a discus tank for this particular tank. We're not saying we're not going to do a discus tank. What I'm saying is that this particular tank, because of the things that have gone on with the COVID situation, it just made it impossible to do. And when we come back, we're going to talk about that. So stick with me. We'll be right back. Although Seachem is not an official sponsor of this channel, I do hope that you'll go out and try some of their amazing products today. So the nightmare of this discus tank in this 38-gallon Fiji Cube Peninsula just continues, and really kind of came to an end the other day after I had started the complete rescaping of this tank and found out that the 3 discus fish that I had on hold at a location that had been holding them for a while for me, somehow one of their employees sold those 3 discus fish out from under me. And I'm not going to go through the process of trying to get discus fish again through the process that I have had to deal with during COVID here. It has been a nightmare trying to get some of the things that I needed for this tank. It's been a nightmare getting the fish themselves. There's all kinds of problems that have really presented themselves because of COVID here. Now, as far as the amount of money that I paid to get those discus fish, that will be reimbursed to me, but it's really beyond words how frustrated I am that that even was a possibility that could happen. Those had been in quarantine for about 3 weeks after they arrived, and should have never ever been sold out from under me at that particular location. Now, they were doing me a favor by holding these fish, and I can understand how it's possible that it happened, but it's still not acceptable to me. So what the decision was here was to take what I had already completely rescaped in this tank and made an angelfish tank out of it. I don't have any angelfish right now. I have been without them for a while. The other ones just grew to be way too big for the tanks that I have here. I did have some mating pairs that I ended up giving to some friends that were really interested in them, and that really made a big difference in clearing up some room in some of my tanks in my gallery. Now, this particular tank here, like I said, it's a 38-gallon Fiji Cube Peninsula. As you can see, these are reasonably small angelfish, so they're not taking up a ton of room here. And I will, again, I'll start rotating them out of this tank as they grow bigger and start to pair up and get a little bit more aggressive, because likely that will happen. It's very hard to sex these fish at this age, so you don't really know what you're going to end up with. But they make a good, nice looking tank with the cardinal tetras. I've always liked that look. I've had this tank, this same exact tank set up this way before, only it was a completely different scape. I have put a ton more plants into this tank than I did originally, and in fact I do have a few more ground cover plants that I will be putting in here over the next couple of weeks as they come in. But it has been really, really difficult to get anything by mail. Most places are either out of things or their shipping time is crazy. So, by the time you get stuff, you just can't really make a plan to put a tank together. So basically, what I did is I took the plants that I had, and I took the plants that were already in this tank. I took everything out of here. I rescaped it. And here's where the rest of the nightmare kind of takes place here, is I was filming all of this. I filmed the complete, removal of the old scape in here, all the plants. I was down to completely just a small amount of substrate, the original filtration, and then I added in another, I think it was 16 pounds of fluval stratum substrate in here, and then started rebuilding with the galaxy rock that's in here. And of course, putting some more wood in and a ton of new plants as well. So by the time I was done, I had harvested and repurposed, 90% of what was in this tank, and then I had ended up putting in about, I think it was 15 or 18 new plants, along with some ground cover plants. That I'm not finished with that part of it yet. I still have some ground cover plants to put in here. I am liking the way it looks as it is without a ton of ground cover plants. I was going to ask for your comments on that. If you think I need some ground cover plants in here to cover more surface, or if I should leave it more open like this and let the peninsula just sort of be the way it is, extend out from the back side of the one end of the tank to the other end, and maybe leave this dark substrate here the way it is, and not put a ton of ground cover in here. Now, I like the look of this. I'm not saying that I don't. I don't know exactly where I want to go with this as far as adding more plants to it, but there is a lot of plants in here, and of course that's going to contribute a lot towards organics being absorbed in here and these plants thriving. And of course plants do act as a natural filter. I talk about that a lot in my videos, and I firmly believe that the more plants you can put in a tank up front, the better off you're going to be, because trying to add them later is really, really difficult to do sometimes. So my idea is to either leave it the way it is or add a few more ground cover plants. The more I look at this and I live with it every day, the more I kind of like the way it looks right now. I suppose in the future, if I were to get 3 discus fish, I could always use the scape that I have right now, because I had intended originally to use this scape for those discus fish. But that's something I'm going to have to look at down the road. But as I said, right now I just don't want to go through it. It's been a hell of a deal to try to get all of this stuff put together enough to put a decent discus fish tank together. And Something that's very very important to me is that the tank look good. Now, whether it has angelfish in there or discus fish, obviously there's a huge difference between angelfish and discus fish. I would have loved to have had the discus, but that just doesn't seem to be in the cards right now or in the near future. So I'd rather use this tank right now for some angelfish here that, like I said, as they get bigger, I can rotate them out of here. And if I do want to put some, the one male and the 2 female discus fish that I will order in the future in this tank, I can do that. Now, one other option is here, I do have a 100-gallon coming from Waterbox that they've been kind enough to say they will send me, and that really would probably be best suited for the discus fish, and I can bring that up to about 5 fish comfortably and do a new scape and get that cycled, and maybe by the midsummer or late summer have a tank that's cycled enough to where I feel comfortable putting these rather expensive discus fish in here. So we're going to see how it goes here. Love your comments on this as to whether or not you like this tank in its current form. Basically, there's I think 5 angels. I will list everything on here so that you can kind of get a review of the stock that's in here, the plants that are in here, and so forth. But I would love your comments, as I said, as to whether or not you like the tank in its current form. If you do, there's a possibility I'll leave it this way. Like I said, every day that I live with it, it sort of grows on me. So to be honest with you, if you guys all kind of suggested that I leave it the way it is, I would probably be willing to just kind of enjoy it for what it is right now. Anyways, thank you guys for spending some time with me on this one here. Please hit the comments down there below. Leave me your information about what you think about this tank and the future of it, or if you like it the way it is, whether I should just leave it like this. It's a beautiful tank. There's no doubt about it. It turned out beautiful, and I'm very happy with it. It just doesn't have the fish in there that I would have originally wanted. But leave your comments down below. Hit that like button. Also subscribe. Subscriptions are going up, and I really appreciate that. Hit that like button. Again, that gives everybody an opportunity, or at least it gives YouTube an opportunity to put me in the right algorithm there to get more viewership. And I would really appreciate that from all you guys. Also, hit that bell up there so that any new content that I might be putting out that you get. Thank you so much, you guys, and we will see you on the next one.